Hi, I'm Amy. Thank you for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to talk about the books I read in June, the books I'm planning to read in July, and a little bit about the readathon that I'm taking part in, which is called Summerween. So first, the June reads. Clan in a Cornfield is one of my favourite things I've read this year. If you're a fan of slasher movies, it has that real feel of a 90s slasher where a group of teens are being stalked by, in this case, the town mascot, which is a clown called Frendo. It's a really scary book, very suspenseful. I absolutely love the character development and the writing style, so I'll definitely be reading more books by this author. And the next book I read in June was another absolutely brilliant read for horror, and that is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. So I really thought I was going to like this book when I read the blurb. It's about three sisters who went missing when they were children, and one of them has gone missing now that they're older, and the others are trying to work out what happened to her. And I absolutely love Crystal Sutherland's writing style. It's just beautifully written, and I liked the way that she builds suspense through the book, and I think the plot is a real strength. It's very inventive. I haven't read anything like it before, and I found it really difficult to predict what's going to happen, which I always find exciting. So House of Hollow is a definite top pick for me. For 2021, I think it's going to be one of my favourite books. So after that, my TBR went a little bit off-piece because I ended up reading a couple of books that weren't on the list from last month. So It's Behind You is Catherine Foxfield's new book. It just came out, and I really loved Good Girls Die First. When I got an early copy of this book, I dropped everything to read it. And I'm happy to say that I loved this one just as much. So in It's Behind You, a group of teens go into a cave which has a very dark history to film a reality TV show called It's Behind You. And I really liked the blend between reality and the sort of myths behind the cave, and not knowing whether something paranormal was happening or whether the kids were being messed with by the people running the TV show. So I thought that this book was really fun. It felt modern and fresh. And I like the fact that in this book, the characters are actually really likeable, so you're rooting for them. The whole point of Good Girls Die First was that the characters were generally quite awful people. So when they started getting picked off one by one, that was part of the fun of the book in a weird way. So in this one, I liked the fact that it felt like something that Catherine Foxfield had written, but also felt different and like she was moving in a new direction, which is always great for an author. So absolutely love this book as well. Continuing the horror vibes, I definitely had a horror month. I read my first Junji Ito book, and this one is Shiver. It's a book of short stories, and I'm so glad I've bought more Junji Ito books, assuming I'll like them, because I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I don't think there was a single story that I didn't like, and quite a lot of them were the types of thing that I would read them and then spend a lot of time thinking about it afterwards. Extremely creepy, very shocking and inventive, and the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. It really complements the story, and the artwork just work together beautifully. So I'm really excited to read more Junji Ito books, and I'll always remember this one as my first. So the last thing I read this month was something that has been on my TBR pile for absolutely ages. My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. And I've already read The Sun Book Club's Guide to Vampires last year, which I really enjoyed. And I actually think I like this one more. So it's set in the 80s, which I really appreciated. So I loved all the pop culture references. I really liked the relationship between the two girls. So when the best friend is possessed by a demon, I felt like you already knew them and you really cared about them. So it was amazing the way that you followed them through the book, and you went through this scary horror with two characters you actually really cared about. And I found the end of the book quite chilling. So I love Grady Hendrix. I've just bought his new book, which will be on my TBR pile for this month, which I'll talk about in a moment. And I think that he's becoming one of my favourite authors, so a great end to the month. So I've set myself a really challenging task this month to read quite a lot of books, mainly because I've been sent a few things that I want to read from publishers, but also just because I couldn't choose between them. So this is the whittled down pile. So unsurprisingly, I've decided to read another Junji Ito book, and this one is called Venus in the Blind Spot. I believe it's another book of short stories. I picked this one up purely because of the cover. Just look at that. I absolutely love the artwork. I love the colour palette. And I believe that there are some colour pages in this book, which will be a lovely touch. So I'm excited about continuing my journey with Junji Ito books. This book is a proof that has been sent to me. It's called The Undying Tower. It's by Melissa Welliver. I hope I said her name right. Welliver, maybe. And It is a dystopian. It's set in a world where some people live forever and they've been ostracised by society, and I just think that that sounds really cool and inventive. I love this proof cover. I don't know if you've seen more on social media, but they have done, the publisher have done covers in all different colours, and I think that that's a really cool idea. This was one I got, so I'll be reading that this month. Another really anticipated book on my list is Every Line of You, and it's another book with a gorgeous cover. Look at those pink edges. And Every Line of You is about a girl who is a coder, which I love. I love books about girls in STEM, and she creates a boy using her computer, and he starts to take on a life of his own and becomes quite an unsettling presence in her life. And this is a thriller, and I really like the idea how the modern angle has been given to this story. So I'm excited about this one. The author is called Naomi Gibson, and she's a fellow debut like me, so I'm really looking forward to reading this. And the next book on my list is one I've been sent as well, and it is Sister Switch by Beth Garrett. I love Beth's YA books. This is her middle grade debut, and I believe this book has a kind of Freaky Friday angle to it, which is a film that I really enjoy, the original version of the film, the Lindsay Lohan remake, and yeah, I think that this sounds like a really fun book. So thank you to the publisher for sending this. It was from Simon & Schuster. I'm looking forward to reading that this month. The next book on my list, another book by a debut author. This one is by Jamie Russell, and it's called Skywake Invasion. It is, I'm going to have to read the blurb to get it right because it's set in a technologically advanced world and I don't want to mess it up. So Casey Henson, aka Casey Flo, is obsessed with online team shooter Skywake, which has taken the gaming world by storm. The Ghost Reapers are a high-ranking team. When Casey's in the zone, anything seems possible. Then at a live Skywake tournament, things start to get weird. The Red Eye alien cosplayers seem to have real guns. A massive spaceship looms overhead and kids are going missing. This is no longer a game, it's an invasion. I love books like that. I like the idea of somebody learning a skill and technology that they can use in real life. And I think this sounds really fun, so I'm looking forward to reading that this month. Thank you to Walker Books for sending it to me. So to my Summerween TBR, it's a really fun readathon if you haven't heard of it. I think it ends on the July the 8th. It's already started earlier in July. And basically there's a list of prompts that you can join in. It's quite flexible. And I've decided that I'm going to tackle a couple of the prompts on the list with some of the books on my TBR this month. So Vampires Never Get Old is a book of short stories about vampires with a modern slant. I get the feeling that it might be quite a feminist slant as well, which is always good. And there is a paranormal prompt on the list, so I decided that I was going to read this book for it. Vampires Never Get Old was on my TBR list a previous month, and for some reason I completely forgot to read it. So I'm looking forward to this. I love vampires, and I like the idea of discovering some new authors and revisiting old favourite authors, like Victoria Schwab has a book in here, a story in this book. So yeah, I think that this will be a really good read for the paranormal prompt. Next up on my list is my new Grady Hendrix book, and I went for the Forbidden Planet signed edition, which has these gorgeous black sprayed edges. And there is a prompt to read a book with a black or orange on the cover, or both, and so I went for the black cover. And I love the premises of Grady Hendrix's books are always really interesting, so I'll read you this blurb. In horror movies, the final girl is the one who's left standing when the credits roll, the one who fought back, defeated the killer and avenged her friends, the one who emerges bloody but victorious. But after the sirens fade and the audience moves on, what happens to her? Lynette Harkington survived a massacre 22 years ago, and it has defined every day of her life since, and she's not alone. For more than a decade, she's been meeting with 5 other final girls and their therapists in a support group for those who survived the unthinkable, putting their lives back together piece by piece. That is, until one of the women misses a meeting and Lynette's worst fears are realised. Someone knows about the group and is determined to take their lives apart again, piece by piece. But the thing about these final girls is that they have each other now, and no matter how bad the odds, how dark the night, how sharp the knife, they will never ever give up. Do you ever read something and it actually makes your skin prickle? I got goosebumps reading that, because I think that you're going to become really invested in this group of women, and then a serial killer is obviously going to be after them, realising that they are special and have already survived awful experiences in their lives. So this sounds brilliant. I feel like Grady Hendrix is really good at making you root for characters and then tearing your heart out when things happen to them. So I'm really excited. That is it for my huge stack of books for my July TBR pile. I hope that I managed to get through a lot of them because it sounds like a really good reading month. I really appreciate people who've continued to watch my videos. I'm absolutely loving doing this YouTube channel. So if you like this video, please like it. I really appreciate new subscribers, and I always reply to comments. So if you've got something you'd like to say about one of the books I've read or one of the books I'm planning to read, please let me know below this post. Thank you.